stop growing. Watch what you exposing when you up close. Maybe step up, but we the ones chosen. Stay on your job or your shop's closed. Keep your eyes open, never stop growing. Yeah, I'll stay cats hoping that you stop. Many step up, but we the ones chosen. You ain't the only soul hurting. Paycheck to check and hate the gig you working. Still learning how to be the bigger person. Focusing the.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today for Pharmacy for the People. I decided to do another song today because I was just really feeling really excited and connected to my mission as a pharmacist and feeling chosen as the National Pharmaceutical Association is planning for our 75th anniversary in August or in July, end of July, beginning of August in Atlanta. And so I had to basically get inspired by my favorite artist, Ja Rajim, who created the track for Pharmacy for the People and also that song Chosen. So shout out to him. But today is Ask the Pharmacist. We're just going to do 15 minutes tonight. And so, I got a couple of questions from the last segment. So I'm going to answer that question first, which is actually a good question from my pharmacy manager from CVS a long time ago. Actually, she wasn't a pharmacy manager. She was a store manager, but she was very engaged in the operations of the pharmacy as a good manager should be. So she used to come back to the pharmacy all the time. And she asked a question about Q10 and statins, but pretty much about over-the-counter herbals or what most people think are non-pharmaceuticals, but like herbal products or supplements, and its relationship with medications that are prescribed by physicians or pharmaceuticals. And so the general thing that I want to say about that is that herbals, supplements, all of those things have effects on your body, just like how regular medications do, or like medications that's made from pharmaceutical companies. And so it's very important for you to talk to your pharmacist about the possible drug interactions of things that you find over the counter. Or if you're looking for male enhancements, things that you find at the gas station, because they can affect your body and they can have real drug interactions with medications that may be prescribed by your doctor. So even though we might think that it's natural, and it may come from a more natural source, it doesn't mean that they can't cause effects to your body. And sometimes the effects can be harmful if you're on prescribed medications. So I just want to make sure that you take advantage of knowing that you can speak to an expert who is usually a pharmacist that can give you any information about drug interactions. So for the relationship between CoQ10 and statins, CoQ10 actually is a really good supplement. It helps people to build energy, and it is also a very powerful antioxidant. And for the past few weeks that we've been talking about inflammation and, how inflammation happens in your body, especially as we was talking about heart health last month, a good antioxidant can help to combat some of that inflammation. And especially as we get older, we want to try to make sure that we're getting in front of that inflammation. So, of course, as always, even though I'm a pharmacist, I'm always going to talk to you about the foods that are good. And I see that we have my good friend Fulani on here, who is the vegan specialist that can tell us more about what are our vegan options when we're looking for good nutrients for our body. But, you can get CoQ10, that enzyme, and that the effects of that supplement from oily fish and organ meats. So when we're talking about oily fish, we're talking about like mackerel and salmon. And, everybody, if you're from the Caribbean, you love a good mackerel rundown, but, that's good for you. and organ meats. I love liver and onions, everything in moderation. But again, good food supplements for CoQ10. And so what it does is that it helps to decrease muscle breakdown, pain, and discomfort. And so if you have ever been on a statin, and a statin is usually used to help manage cholesterol. Also, a low dose statin can be prescribed for people that have diabetes. And so the statin, as a side effect, can cause what we call like muscle fatigue and muscle pain. And so CoQ10 and statins is actually a good combinations. But the thing that we're going to always find about supplements and that we're going to find about herbal products is that what they claim, they're not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. So they don't necessarily have to have all of the studies that a drug that is on the market by a pharmaceutical company. They don't have to have all of the studies to claim, how they're productive. And so a lot of times as scientists, and, most practitioners are scientists, there's not always the studies or the amount of people to back up the claims that herbals and supplements say that they can do. But we do know that there are people that are on those. And if we are connected to herbals, we know that they are effective. And so while they may not be published studies about them, I'm always a proponent of herbals and good food and things like that. So CoQ10 and statins, yes, that's a yes from my opinion to yours. Always talk to your doctor about it, but CoQ10 and supplement and statins, that's a yes. The next question that I had that I wanted to talk to you all about is people coming into the pharmacy. When the pharmacist fills your prescriptions, we can look at your profile and see whether or not you have been adherent to your medications. And so a good practicing pharmacist, when you come in and say, oh, I need this, but if you're on several medications, we're going to look at your profile and say, well, it's time for you to get this, or, it's almost time for you to get this medication. You haven't gotten this medication in a month. And a lot of times people will say, oh, well, they gave me extra of that, or, it's not time for me to get a refill on that yet. I still have plenty of that at home. And all that means is that you have not been taking it. So I want to encourage all of you that are on medications. You have to have an honest and truthful relationship with your pharmacist. Your pharmacist already knows that you're lying when you're talking about that you have plenty of it at home, that you have not been taking it every day. And we don't judge you. We understand that people don't remember to take their medication every day. So our job is to help you to overcome those barriers so that you can take your medication every day. And so I have 2 tips for those of us that are struggling with adherence or struggling with taking their medication every single day. And so I have a morning tip and I have an evening tip. So if you have a medication that you are supposed to take every single morning, I want you to pick one activity that you do every single morning. Is it washing your face? Do you take a shower every morning? Do you drink coffee every morning? Do you brush your teeth every morning? If I have any dentists in the room, then you know that you should brush your teeth every morning and every night. But a lot of us don't. So pick an activity that you know that you do every single morning, and then you associate that with taking your medication. For most of my patients, they do brush their teeth every morning. And so I tell them right after you brush your teeth, take your medication, take your morning medication. And it's easier for you to be adherent if you associate taking your medication with some other activity that you do every single day. And so for nighttime people, that may be you watch your news every day. You may pray every night. You may wash your feet every night. You may change into your pajamas every night. So whatever you do every single night, again, associate that activity with taking your medications. So most of us, if we don't do anything else, we change into our pajamas every single night. We take off our clothes every single night. For those of you that like to sleep naked, Steve Harvey was talking about that this morning, if you guys listen to that show. But anywho, whatever activity you do every single day and every single morning, associate taking your medication with that, because that will help you to be much more adherent to your medications. So don't come in the pharmacy talking about, oh, y'all gave me double last time. No, we didn't. The insurance company is not paying for that. And we just know that you're not taking it. But just be honest with us. We're not judging you for not taking it. But be honest with us and let us know that you're not taking it so that we can help you to be more adherent. And the last question that I see in the chat for tonight is, what is the difference between urgent care and the emergency room? Is one better than the other? Well, although that is not really a medication related question, that is a healthcare access issue. And I am going to talk about that. Healthcare professionals, insurance company, all of us, we hate when you go to the emergency room. We cannot stand when you go to the emergency room to access your care, because a lot of time what that means is that you don't have a primary care provider that you're seeing on a regular basis that you can call if you are having an issue. However, the emergency room that's affiliated with a hospital is usually going to have more resources. They're going to be able to provide a surgery for you. If you got shot, they're going to be able to run way more tests than an urgent care center. They're also going to be able to hospitalize you if you need to be there more than 24 hours, because an emergency room is linked to a hospital and could provide much more longer urgent care to get you stabilized. So I would suggest to you that if you're going to go to the emergency room, that it should be for a very serious matter. Again, like if you're feeling like you're having a heart attack, like I talked about last week, or if you got shot or something like that, then I would suggest that you go to an emergency room. However, urgent care centers are very much so accessible healthcare that is not as daunting as the emergency room, but can help you to treat like other lesser, not so serious conditions. Like, so if you feel like you've had a headache all day and I don't know what it is, then you can go to the urgent care center. If you maybe sprained your ankle, you can go to the urgent care center. If you feel like you have the sniffles or you have a cold or a flu, then I would suggest that you go to the urgent care center, because there you will have like a mid-level practitioner, maybe a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant who is overseen by a doctor. But they can check you out, give you what you need, and send you back home. So urgent care is more for like a short-term need, something that you may can manage at home. Even if you need stitches, I would suggest that you go to urgent care as opposed to an emergency room. But if you think there's a more serious condition where you may need to be hospitalized or you may need to get an x-ray or something like that, then I would suggest you go to the emergency room. But there are some urgent care centers that are fully equipped that can give you x-rays and stuff like that. But more importantly than accessing urgent care and emergency rooms for your care is for you to access a primary care provider. We're still in the beginning of the year. We're within the first quarter. A lot of us probably have changes in our insurance and stuff like that. And so I want to encourage you that if you have not picked a primary care provider yet, pick one. Pick one and schedule a physical. We all need to check in with our primary care provider at least once a year to make sure that everything is great. And so that's all I have for you all today. I am just so excited that you all are joining me, and I hope that I answered some of your questions today. Again, just to give you a couple take-home points, if you're on any herbals or supplements, make sure that you check with your pharmacist first, because they can cause adverse events to your body, especially if you're taking other medications. The second question is, if you're having an adherence issue, meaning that you're having difficulty taking medications every single day, talk to your pharmacist about it. Affiliate taking your medication with an activity that you do daily, such as brushing your teeth in the morning or changing to go to bed at night. And last but not least, if you are in an emergency situation, figure out whether or not you need to go to the urgent care or the emergency room. If it's a very serious condition where you might need an x-ray or some type of CAT scan or something like that, go to the emergency room. If you think maybe you're going to need to be at the hospital overnight, go to the emergency room. But if you have a cut, or if you have like a headache, or you feel like you have a cold, or if you have a sprained ankle, then you could access the urgent care. But most importantly, make sure that you have a primary care provider to meet your physical health needs on a regular basis. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next week.